Good morning, YouTube. Just Jeff here. This morning I want to take a few minutes and talk to you about the 1%. We had a prior video and we can cover it real quickly, but we talked about the differences in spending between poor, middle class, and wealthy, and what those lead to as far as results. And this morning I wanted to add to what do the 1% do that's different, what results do they get, and kind of how is that defined per country. And so here's the sheet we kind of looked at last time, and if you remember, poor spend their money on food, clothes, rent, and necessities. Middle class is similar expenses, and with the addition of a 401k that they probably automate between maybe 10% of income. And then the rent is shifted to a house which has some value, with the principal payment, but still between 25 and 30% of their income. And then, they might go on a vacation once in a while with their extra money. You get into wealthy, and, they're doing some of these things, but overall they're saving between 50 and 70% of their income, and they're not just saving it into a savings account where it's actually eventually been spent on unplanned expense like a car or credit cards, things like that. They're actually investing that 50 to 7% into something that has a residual or lasting value of assets, and due to that then they own stocks, real estate, land, businesses that they've put that money into. And when you get down to the 1%, though, there's a few things that are different. At the 1%, you've got things like scalable businesses, and so if you have a lot of businesses, you essentially are the employee in the business, and your time is being converted into money. And to be in the 1%, most of the time, you really can't directly convert time to money unless maybe you're the best professional athlete in the world. The very, very, very sliver 0.001, the best sprinter in the world, things like that. But if your business is not converting time to money, but is converting results to money, then you can find other ways to leverage that. Social media can be leveraged. You look at, Dave Ramsey's business model is very scalable because he's going out to media platforms and things. So scalable business is important for the 1%. Depending on how you scale, there's lots of methodologies. Amplified real estate, and amplified real estate would be if you live in the middle of Kansas in an area where the real estate demand is flat, then you're probably not going to get amplification because of an increase in demand. But if you live, if you have a circle in Austin of where the high demand area is, and you're buying just outside that circle, you could get an amplified real estate return based on that demand circle expanding. That can happen in lots of places based on the increase in the job market, increase in job benefits, things like that. You can also create amplification through leverage, although leverage has more risk to be managed. Focused stocks, they do not have a balanced stock portfolio. They may have 80% of their investment in one stock. The owners of Walmart did that. The owners of lots of these companies do that, a very, very focused investment in that one stock that goes up and up and up over time, can put you into the 1%. Disproportionate risk rewards. That's a situation where you can get into this asset at a lower risk or a higher reward than someone else. So one situation I saw was somebody that bought real estate, but they would buy a 4-bedroom house in a area with college students, and then they would rent all 4 bedrooms individually, doubling their income on that property, and their reward was higher than someone that just rented the house altogether. But it was actually more work for them. They had to figure out the systems and things. They ended up with 10 properties with double the income, and boom, they've got an amplification in their return that they can put back into more properties. Lots of time. So consistently doing the right small things over and over and over and over again for 40, 50, 60 years can put you into that 1%. It could be something as simple as your 401k, and you make enough that you can pop the money in there and it puts you in there. It can be, stock portfolio. It can be real estate that you held for 40 years, land, things like that, whatever. It can put you at 1%. Some of the other differences in the 1% is if you look at this wealthy person versus the middle class, this guy has maybe 0 houses and mortgages and loans, okay, on that house, okay, and he has 0 he's responsible for, 0 he's managing, and he may not know how to, or may just choose not to. You get down to middle class and you have 1. But when you start getting into wealthy, one of the things they might put their money in is houses. And let's say that they have 2 houses and they just hire someone to take care of them, and they just sit there and do their thing. They're probably not going to get into this amplified real estate zone down here with these 2 houses. Well, let's say they do like that one guy did, and did 4 different pieces on the house, or found a way to amplify those results. Well, they might end up down here with 10 to 20 houses that they're, and maybe loans, who knows, that they're managing well. And if you manage your loans well, then the bank will continue to work with that. And you manage your houses well, your tenants are happy, your people working with you are happy, and all those things are skill sets, and you have a lot of responsibility from those. And so, you have to look at what these responsibilities. The poor person, a lot of times, is only responsible for themselves. And they might have a responsibility for family, but a lot of times, if you don't have money, you don't have a house, things like that, your family can't lean on you. You might not be the greatest source of emotional support. You might be a little bit focused on what you have to do. You get down here into the middle class, and you definitely have taken some responsibility for yourselves. You're responsible for your house and your loan. Your family directly, especially like your children, they count on you to help them and things. You get down into the wealthy class, and you have some responsibility for your extended family. Now, I'm not saying that you give them things. I'm just saying you think about what their benefit is, and they may run into situations that they're not sure how to handle, and they might call and ask you. And you get down here into the 1%, and you look at the extreme example of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is running he's responsible for $1 trillion, or maybe 3 companies, and all the people that work at those companies, right? All the people, their problems related to the work he's responsible for. That's a lot of responsibility, and he showed due diligence in how he handled responsibility, which is how he went from the one PayPal thing that he sold, and then he got to the next one and the next one and the next one. I mean, he was diligent about how he handled that. How he handles his employees, their problems, things like that. And so when you show good stewardship in maybe the 2 houses, that might amplify into 10 to 20 houses, put you at 1%. Now, people talk a lot about the 1%, and I think there's a lot of misunderstandings about that. Because, Mike Tyson was not in the 1%. He made a lot of money, but at some point he lost it all. And so he really wasn't responsible for anybody but himself. And, that was evident when that money went away. Now, he might be doing better now, but, I don't know that. But here's by country how the 1% is defined. And this is in terms of wealth. or the value of what they're responsible for. Okay, so if you look at Elon Musk, he's maybe has $300 billion in worth, but he's responsible for managing all those companies, the whole things, and that's how he's created that wealth. Now, if you look at what he spends, it's actually a very small fraction of that. But the U.S. is number 3. It looks like to get being the 1%, you have to have a net worth of 4.4 million. Now, I don't think this is actually a great way to measure it because the U.S. is so disparate in their value from California to the Midwest to New York, right? Cost of livings are way different, and so if you own certain number of houses in California versus the same number in the Midwest, your net worth is dramatically different, but those might be creating the same amount of wealth for you in comparison to your expenses and those type things. So that's a hard thing. So you come down here in Kenya, $20,000 puts you in top 1%, which is pretty high, pretty low. But the whole thing about income inequality is really missing the point that someone like Elon Musk is not spending $300 billion. He's consuming a small portion of that amount of money that the market has said that he's created, that value of the companies he's created. And so, if you really, really want to live in a place where the incomes are more equal, then you can come down here and live in, Russia or a socialist country, and you can live where the 1% is of 400,000, and that means that the 10% is lower, and the cost of living might be lower, and what they have is a lot lower. So you have to consider the benefits of having those wealthy individuals managing certain assets because they're good at managing those, and that's something that usually isn't considered. I just wanted to share this with you, kind of help you understand what people in poor, middle class, wealthy, and 1%, what they're doing, and help you understand that what you believe leads you to what you do, which leads you to the results that you get. And many people believe something different. They believe that what you have is what you are. But if you notice on that chart that I showed, it didn't show any amounts of net worth on what they do, because what you have is really more a reflection of what you've done, what you value, and not so much a reflection of where you started. You start where you start, and then you do these things, and the things make you into that place you want to be in. I don't think there's anything, better about one than the other than, look at your actions that you're taking and see how they align to where you want to be. And if they don't, then either realign where you want to be or your actions, and act consistently with where you want to end up. And I would say that's the only thing I would encourage, because if my kids said they wanted to be a mechanic, they wanted to be straight middle class, I would say, great, this is what it looks like, this is what you do, benefits, detriments to that. But if they wanted to be, able to help a broader range of people, maybe provide lots of people places to live, or maybe provide a value to lots of people on the internet, some business that served 1 million people, if they want to do those things, then there's a different way to behave. Like and subscribe down below if you were got anything out of this, and give me a comment. I don't get a lot of comments, but thanks a lot for your time. Bye.